Hi, Wim. Thank you very much for the beautiful movie. We really enjoyed it. And I've got a quick question related to the concept of the trees. So we noticed there are 4 different types of trees. Firstly, the sky tree. Secondly, the real tree as the tree front. And then thirdly, we noticed there is a homeless people who always dress up as a tree. And then fourthly, there's a book called Trees. So we wonder if for the trees, are they conveying the same meaning or same concept, or they have different perspectives? And if so, are they progressive or they are in parallel? Thank you.
I have to think about this. Well, first of all, there were trees, period, and he loved trees. And in my own biography that I wrote for myself of Hirayama's life, he was a gardener before he became a caretaker of the toilets, and before he was a gardener, he was a businessman. And he lived a privileged life, as you can guess from his sister. He probably also had a Lexus or whatever. So, and then he left all of that behind and became a gardener because he loved trees. And maybe that's also why I insisted on the komorebi at the end, that you know the word. Of course you know it, but other people might not know the word. So komorebi saved his life, so to speak, because one day I now volunteer this information. I thought I wouldn't, but I did well. One day, as a businessman, as a successful businessman, but drinking a lot and also doing drugs and having been left by his wife and not seeing much sense in his life, he went downhill and woke up one morning in a crummy hotel, and he didn't even know why he was there. Maybe he had sex, maybe not. And he was totally disgusted with his life and was determined that he was going to end it. When all of a sudden, miraculously, the sun found its way through the window and through the little tree in front, and it threw this amazing little spectacle on the wall in front of him. And he sat there in his bed and looked at it and couldn't quite believe it, that was happening in front of him, and obviously only for him. And how the sun had reached his little hellhole there, he didn't know. He just realized the light had traveled from very far to create the spectacle. And it was with the help of the trees, the little tree in front and the wind. And he thought that was so amazing. And he realized he had never seen it, although he probably could have seen something like that often in his life. That he said, this is a big sight for me. And he said, this is the life I'm going to live from now on. I'm going to be a person taking care of trees. And he became a gardener and left everything behind and became something radically different, and modest and simple. That was my story. I told that only to Koji because Koji needed to know. So Koji needed to know why komorebis was special to him and why trees were special to him. And so that explains also a little bit his choice of literature, because the first book he's reading is The White Palms by Faulkner. It was the only tree book I could come up with that I liked, with a tree in the title. And then my co-writer Takuma had this beautiful book of short stories by Kurando, and I always say it right, called Trees. Anyway, so that's the second kind of trees. The sky tree was a gift because when we had decided, okay, we're going to make this movie and we're going to have to rush back to Berlin and write the script, and I cannot stay any longer because I have to go back to my other movie. And then I was asked, but where could this all happen? I said, we know already the toilets are in Shibuya, so half of the film is in Shibuya, and the other half is in this little neighborhood that I like so much, Oshiage, because it's really beautiful. I like it. It's these old houses. So, and we said, maybe we find it. Wouldn't it be good if we find it before we write the script? So we rushed to Oshiage, and I said, what the heck is this? And there was this tower that I had not seen last time I was in Tokyo. Skytree didn't exist 4 or 5 years ago. So there was this big tower, and it was fancy and had different colors, and I liked it. And I liked the idea that it was called Skytree. And then we found this little house in the shadow of the Skytree, and it was the perfect house for us. It had the little parking lot, and it had the little temple opposite, and was surrounded by trees. And we decided it's going to be this house. So when I drove home to Berlin, I knew the place and the actor. So that's all I needed to know. So I think I got all the trees in. Did I miss one?
I think you got them.
That's okay. So I did miss one. Oh.
Which is the homeless person.
Oh yes, and of course we had this homeless person written into the script because we wanted to make sure that people would understand that Hirayama would look at everybody, and he would see the homeless person just as well as the banker who comes to take a leak in his toilet. And that he would greet him with the same respect he would greet anybody. And so he's the only one who sees this homeless man, and he also sees something special. He sees that the homeless man has this thing about trees as well, and becomes a living tree in between. And he likes him, and he's worried when all of a sudden he's disappeared, and he finds him again back in the city. And Takuma, my co-writer, said he had this idea for Min Tanaka as the homeless man, and I said, wait a minute. The Min Tanaka, he's not going to play a little part like a homeless man. He said, yes, you will. And especially if you have him play a tree. and I knew Min Tanaka because he was a big hero for Pina Bausch. Pina had talked to me about Min Tanaka and had showed me films by Min Tanaka. And he was a great hero for Pina when I made the film with Pina Bausch. So, and then Min actually came into town. He lives outside of town and has a farm where he grows tea. And he was very happy to play a homeless person, and knowing, and I don't know how often I told him, but Nin, this is just tiny little scenes. And in the end, we loved him so much, we shot so much more with him that in the end didn't end up in the film. So I felt so bad that we made an extra little film called Somebody Comes Into the Light, and it's just his performance, and it's really beautiful. Maybe, I don't know what we do with it. It's 10 minutes long, so you can't really use it in theaters, but it'll certainly be on the DVD or whatever.
I love hearing about all these connections, the thread between all these things. Yes, ma'am. Who had the mic down over here? Go ahead.
Hi, beautiful movie. I'm going to Japan for the first time in 2 months, so can't wait. I'll pay special attention to the toilets as well now that I've seen your movie.
They are all in Shibuya.
Okay, thank you.
But Shibuya is very big. So you might
My
miss
question was regarding the music. I really like the music of the movie, and I know with the last one, the actor already knew, and I just wanted to know, did you know all the songs before you started filming, and you made the actor listen to them so he could act based on them, or was just improvised? I just want to know more about that as well.
Well, the process happened in the writing. It was almost by deduction. When we wrote the first day of his routine, eventually he was coming out of the house after we see him get up and roll up his futon and everything you've seen. And he comes out of the house and he draws his coffee, and then he goes into his car. And then I said, well, it's half an hour drive. He's going to listen to music. And of course, this crummy car can only play cassettes. So he's going to have cassettes. And that's, by the way, the only thing he found in the basement when he was looking for if he had anything left from his youth that he wanted to keep. So he still has the cassettes from the time when he was young, 20 years old or so, in the 70s. And then we thought, well, if he does actually pick a cassette and not just randomly play something, but every morning selects one, then it's almost like a motto of the day, and he knows his music, so we better put in the real song that he plays, because if he just put in the script, he puts in a cassette, then we put it in post-production, then it doesn't mean anything, at least not for the scene, for the actor. So we started to put all these songs in, the real actual songs, and it started with the animals in that scene, and the House of the Rising Sun, which then reoccurs later in Japanese in the film. In brackets, in the original version, because the Japanese always sang the original song, which is about a young woman ending up in a whorehouse. The Animals recorded that song first, about a young woman, and then that producer said, we cannot release that. And you have to rewrite it for a boy. And then the song that you know by the Animals is the rewritten version to not be offensive. And so the story about a young man and his blue jeans is not the original song, but she later on sings the original. Why am I getting to this? Okay, yeah. We put the real song in the script, and then as he drives his car every day to work and back, we put more songs in, and I enjoyed it very much. After my very first doubts, and I asked my co-writer, Takuma, I can't do this. We cannot really do this, Takuma. I cannot put my own favorite music in this. This is a Japanese character. This is culture. This is inappropriate, and I'm imposing myself. He said, "Oh no, Ben. Don't you worry. I swear to God, we listen to exactly the same songs that you listen to." And look where Raikuda did his best concert, yeah. And look who played here and when and how. And then I remembered that I've seen the Kinks 2 times in my life, in Tokyo both. So I out of a sudden felt more safe that we could put songs in, and we DJ'd our way through the script.
I thought it was fortuitous that you and the hero had the same taste in music and books.
Well,
I noticed he liked Patricia Highsmith.
Yeah, he loved that too. He likes a lot of things I like, but that's a coincidence. and the songs were all in the scenes. We didn't add them afterwards. All the songs, when he's cleaning his room, he's listening to the Kinks on the afternoon. So we played the actual music in the scene. So we thought it was, normally you put music in afterwards in movies, and we thought that was funny, and the actor needed it because it's part of who he is, and part of the songs also tell the movie. So we put them in, and we had them on the set.
Can we get a microphone to the chap here, please? And there was somebody else over here that had a hand up. Who was that? Where? I can't see.
Yeah, they're all so much in the dark.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much for the amazing movie. Could you tell us a bit about his photos and like mostly one a day? I mean, it reminds me a bit about of Wei Wang's Smoke and Harvey Keitel taking photos outside of the shop. I don't know if that was also a reference.
Oh, I didn't remember that. Harvey took pictures in there?
Every day, one every day.
Oh yes, now it comes back to me. They're even in the book.
Yeah, had a book at the end.
Yes. Okay, no, we didn't think of that. We just thought it was a leftover of his youthful days, and when he gave up his previous life, he thought, what am I keeping? And he kept his little camera. And later on, you understand, he even gave one to his niece, and he didn't even remember it. So, and what I liked about it was the idea that he would take photos during the week. He only had one film of 20 exposures, and at the end of the week, he gave it to develop, and he bought one new one. And I like that because he also only reads one book and buys one new one. So it's a little bit his philosophy and the way he lives, and the way that he knows he is only doing what he wants to do. He only wants to finish one book, and then he wants to think about the next one. He doesn't want to buy a stack. Anybody else would go into that shop, a book, $1, you can better take a dozen. Now he only wants one, because you can only read one in that week. So I thought it was a beautiful idea of having enough with just what you need.
I wish we could go on for another hour, but I'm afraid the cinema want their cinema back. So I want to thank you for your contributions, and Vim, thank you and your collaborators for reminding us and certainly reminding me to.
Can I do
appreciate-
one more thing?
Yes, but let me finish this.
Yeah.
Okay, no, go ahead. One
I
more.
would like to take a picture with the Renoir written over you, because I'm so much in awe of Renoir, and he meant so much to me.
I'll hold here.
It doesn't hurt. I've never seen people. Oh, you.
Smile.
We don't actually see you. We see
Yes.
you're all too backlit. Okay.
Thank you for reminding us to admire the beauty in small things.
Thank you all.